Hey everyone, Fox from ModelMaking.Guru here, and hello and very welcome to the next instalment of my build series of the huge 1/8 scale Fast and Furious Dodge Charger RT part work from my good friends over at Fanhome. I'm building up this model issue by issue over the coming 2 years, and you can join me as I try to maintain the gorgeous shiny paint job and put off watching the actual movies as long as possible. Now, as always, in the interests of transparentularityness, I need to explain that this part work has been provided to me at no cost by the good folks at Fanhome. They've got no creative input into the videos and all opinions are my own, but they are providing the part work. Now, if you don't know who Fanhome are, here's a quick video. Now let's crack on. In this video I'll be working through issues 7 to 10, focusing on the right wheel, suspension and steering. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go through the magazines, but they're chock full of tons of lovely background and history of not only the Fast and Furious lore and films, but also the history of the Charger, muscle cars and the tuning scene. So if you want to see that, subscribe to the part work. As always, I'll be using my own screwdriver set as I find it more comfortable, a floofy Dodo Juice Fantastic fur towel to protect and clean the paintwork on the parts. I'll also be using a handy tidy box to police all the screws and such, and some generic 3-in-1 oil for any screws going into metal parts. All of these or similar are available in my Amazon stores, links in the description below the video. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Now, let's crack on. We start with issue 7 and only a few parts to assemble to make the chassis K member and the stabiliser bar, nothing too complex. First, the cross member bar is fixed to the chassis cross member with 3 CM screws. As usual, because these are M screws that are going into metal, I lightly dip the screw tips into the little pot of 3-in-1 oil to make sure they threaded in nice and easily, with minimal effort. Some of these metal screws have a tough time seating in, especially where there's paint or very tight screw holes, so the oil just makes life easier. Then, making sure it was the right way round, I attached the K member to the cross member with CM screws. Next, making sure the anti-roll bar was the right way up, I attached the end links to it with DP screws. No oil needed for screws going into plastic. Take care here, as you need to make sure you keep the screw straight and true to avoid damaging the thin end links. I found it easier to hold the screw in place first, rather than fart about trying to line all the holes up. For the next step, make sure you closely check parts 7F and 7G, the anti-roll bar brackets. 7F has the flange with the screw hole on the left and 7G on the right, and each one only fits a specific side of the K-member. The anti-roll bar sits loosely on the K-member and is held in place by these brackets, which are fixed to the K-member with the CM screw. And with that, issue 7 is complete. Now, for some reason, the final picture in the instructions show the end links as silver when they haven't been before in any other images. I've no idea why. Hey ho. Now, it will not have escaped even the most hard of thinking of you out there that 9 does not actually come after 7. I've skipped an entire issue and a half, and I'm jumping right to the end of issue 9. Issue 8 and most of 9 deal with the assembly of the right suspension and wheel hub, which matches the process in earlier videos, so there's really no need to show that again. Instead, as you can see here, we've skipped to step 9.8 in issue 9. This is a very quick step. The previously assembled K-member and anti-roll bar was attached to the front crossmember and chassis with 2 KM screws at the front, and 2 CM screws at the back. Now, important note here, I did find that the 2 CM screws that the instructions tell you to use did not seem to be long enough to really grip into the chassis through the K-member. You'll see me fuss with them here. And so the K-member was not fixed firmly at the back. To fix it, I picked out 2 slightly longer screws from the spare stash in my tidy box that allowed the K-member to lock into place properly. Now, if you have this loose screw issue, I would recommend that you do the same, especially as this K-member may need to support the engine later on. I can't tell you which screws I used as I messed all mine up ages ago and they're all in just a big pile, but try some that are slightly longer than the CM screws and that'll screw all the way down without sticking up. This is why you should always keep all the spare screws. Lastly, I attached the anti-roll bar end links to the suspension arms with a DP screw, carefully as before to avoid damaging the plastic part. And that completes issues 8 and 9. Next up was issue 10, and you'll see this is all the super fiddly bits for the steering rack. I had super shaky hands today, so this was a pain to film. The first thing was to identify the idler arm brackets. They are chiral and marked with L for left and R for the right one. Don't mix them up. I attached a tie rod end to the left idler arm with 2 CM screws. Now make sure you have the tie rod end the correct way around. Also, the screw holes in the tie rod end are quite tight, so I found a dot of oil and rehearsing threading a screw in each hole first before finally putting it all together to clear out the whole of any paint build-up really helped. Next, I slotted a ball joint piece into the steering arm, and attach the tie rod end to it with a JM screw. Then, using the right idler arm, I assembled the other arm and attached that to the steering arm as well in the same way. Then I attach the tie rod arm to the steering arm with a ball joint, and a JM screw. Yes, I've put the screw on the wrong side here. Oh, I corrected it later. I popped another ball joint piece into the steering arm end and mounted the steering arm onto the tie rod that was already installed onto the chassis. It was a bit of a fiddly tight fit. And fixed it with a JM screw. As before, given the fiddly position, you may find it helpful to pre-screw all the screw holes before assembly, just to clear out any paint that's making your life more difficult. Next, using another ball joint piece, I connected the right tie rod to the wheel's knuckle arm, and fixed it with a JM screw. Now, if you find the screw seems to be spinning freely and not going in all the way, don't panic, just take care to make sure all the screw holes are lined up. It's tricky. The penultimate step is to attach the idler arm brackets to the K-member with a couple of CM screws. Now, again, on this step, I found the CM screws you're supposed to use weren't really long enough to securely lock the idler arm brackets into place at all, and could easily be popped out of the K-member. So, again, I grabbed a couple of random, slightly longer screws from the spares pile, which worked a treat. The final step is to install the left and right radius arms. Take care to note the shape. The holes the arm goes into are hard to see. The short curved end of the arm goes into this hole in the suspension arm. The long straight end goes in front of the vertical engine support and into this hole in the cross member here. These parts are simple friction fits and just rest in the holes. I found it easiest to insert the cross member end first and then pop the suspension arm end in. With that done, we have a strange entry in the instructions. You can admire the result of this assembly session in the illustration. You can admire the result of this assembly session in the illustration. And issues 7 to 10 are complete, starting to look a little more mechanically now, and that's now a real word because I said it on the internet. Anywho, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Again, a big fat thank you to the team at FanHome for making this possible. If you fancy this partwork yourself, links are in the description below the video. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe and maybe consider supporting this channel, helping to keep it alive by becoming a channel member. Hit the join button below or going to my Patreon page and becoming a patron. Until next time, take care, stay safe and adios amoebas.